I'm Baroness Lane-Fox, I'm a crossbench peer and I'm chair of Go On UK. I've had a strange career. I've worked in technology my whole life. With Brent Hoberman in 1997, we co-founded lastminute.com, rode the internet wave, ups, downs, all over the place. I then was moving on from the company. We sold it. I had a very serious car accident. My life changed forever, and now I do a bunch of different stuff. You know, the digital world is just an astonishing change of dynamic in every single sector of life, you know, whether that's the private sector with new companies being created challenging the big old-fashioned brands, or whether it's in the public sector where all kinds of exciting things are happening. And you look at what was going on in the Arab Spring, where people were able to take part in a completely different way. You know, it can't be overstated yet. This is very early days, but it does give people a voice who had not necessarily had a voice before through social media or just through being able to get different information. But as I say, we're right at the beginning of this journey, so I think that we're going to see huge changes again over the next 5 to 10 years. Changes in how governments react, the way that people are able to vote, the way that they're able to lobby on particular causes, and hopefully a lot more transparency and openness that comes with a lot more access to information. I think a lot about the dynamic between the genders and whether the internet has changed that at all. In some ways I'm very optimistic. You know, you can start a business and your kitchen table and you could suddenly take it global, and there are many examples of amazing women doing stuff enabled by technology. But you know, on the other side of that, most of the engineers in all of the big internet platforms are men, and most of the ways that we now work in the internet are fundamentally structures that have been created and engineered and coded by men. And I don't know if that matters, but I think we should increasingly ask the question. So I'm both excited by the possibilities, but also it's tempered by, I hope we're not just shifting the same hierarchies into the new digital world. You know, it's an incredible experience joining the House of Lords, and it does feel like a real privilege, and I constantly I'm thinking, am I getting a grip of this? Am I doing something that's appropriate? Am I trying to contribute in the right kind of way? It's an intimidating place, so you have to be confident and switch that switch in your brain that says, I've got a right to be here. One of the most lovely things about the Lords, and I've never been in the Commons obviously, but what I hear is that it's not adversarial in the same way that the Commons is. In fact, there's a really strong spirit of trying to be non-partisan, and I think that's one of the benefits to being a crossbencher, obviously, but beyond that, people do really try to work in a more open-hearted and generous-spirited way and not always drawn around political lines. You know, I was just observing a debate where people were being very conciliatory to each other and helping to try and move the legislation on. But there are some very strong voices and some really extraordinary people, and I very often sit there and I find I'm next to Baroness Warnock, who's done unbelievable things in the field of science and invention, or I might see Baroness Helena Kennedy across the way, who's done incredible stuff with human rights. So you are very conscious that this collective brain is something quite remarkable, and the side conversations, the people that you bump into while you're getting a sandwich or while you're putting your coat away, are quite an extraordinary thing.